And when people can start looking at the loves that come into their life that they feel is not good enough or not at their level, it's obviously being attracted to you because there's something you need to learn from that love that has come into your life.
Yeah.
And that will change you and harmonize your sexual energy when you take people who's coming into your life as like, oh, they're bringing beauty into my life. What beautiful aspects do they have that I can incorporate into my body?
Welcome to Vibration Translation from Spiritual Awakening, Spiritual Integration, the present moments, and our authentic interaction with what is right in front of us, right now. Oh my gosh, hello everybody, welcome back. This is another episode of Vibration Translation. Today we got Shakta. Kay is a sensual embodiment guru and is deeply in touch with the energetics and wisdom of our sacred sexual energy. And she's also the owner of her company, SheOrgasms. Okay, just to give people like a taste of your energy for the intro, is there anything else you like to just like introduce yourself with, or maybe just talk about the products that you offer?
Yeah, because you literally summed me up divinely. That is exactly who I am. I have been initiated, okay? I have been chosen by sexual energy to be its spokesperson. And when I say it is the most toughest, largest, misrepresented shoes to step into to be the voice of. And I have been terrified because I'm like, there are so many variations of how people think sexuality is supposed to be and how it's this and how it's that. And I have been given the truth. Okay, I haven't sought it accidentally just through my life experiences, but it's definitely something that is purpose based. Like, I was given this through God to tell people the truth about sexual energy because of how misrepresented it has been. So that is my major focus in everything that I do. So with my supplements, I'm teaching you how to feel the harmony of sexual energy. With my classes, I'm teaching you how to understand and categorize and monitor your sexual energy. And with my individual coaching, I'm helping you extract the sacred wisdom from your sacred energy to unclose your path of purpose. So everything I do all comes back to honoring, loving, supporting, and listening to your sexual energy.
That's so beautiful. So I want to get into all of this, but first, so, you approach like sexual energy with a lot of consciousness. Like, I've read your blogs, like I know I know you're in tune, girl, so so I just want to just start off with like, how have you experienced like spirituality, God, universe, whatever you call it in whatever way? I just want to know, how have you experienced this in your life, and did you have any like moments of awakening to consciousness, like any catalytic moments, and like what were those moments for you?
Yeah. So my grandest experience was when I went to Costa Rica with a couple of my friends, and they were super gung-ho on doing plant medicine called Bufo aloe veras. And I'm just like, y'all are just so excited and like geeked for this. And I just don't know. Like, they're talking about ego deaths and like you're going to transcend the body. And it's at somebody's house and they host ceremonies. And I'm just like, ah. And I'm normally with the shits. Like, I'm always with the shits. Like, you tell me something and I feel like a little bit of intrigue, I'm probably going to dip my toes in it. So, I agree. It took a few days for me to like agree, but I agreed. And mind you, I've already been on my spiritual journey just with my depth and my awareness. So I was pretty close to the teetering fence from the physical to the spiritual. Like, I was really close, and I just needed something to help tip me over to truly understand, right? And so when I did Bufo, that experience, although very short, felt like ages of clarity, right? It was an experience that truly, like, I, in my mind's eye, imagine like you seeing your body just get sucked up by black ink. Like, everything you see, even though it's darkness and black, imagine that blackness becoming even more dark black, and like it's just like kind of swarming through your body like molasses. And as that like molasses takes over your entire body, you get sunken into the earth, but your energy emerges, and that screen becomes like this cosmic like psychedelic visual. But for me, my spirit guides faces in like upper bodies, like it was almost like just like a little, like they came from the screen and just placed themselves in front of my awareness and was like, this is the feeling of you. This is love. This is who you are. This is what you need to be for the world. And I'm like, okay, I promise I will. Like I'm crying. I'm like praising them. Like, thank you so much. And I feel amazing. And I'm thinking, I'm going like this, like praising them, like, yes, like standing up. And then when it's over, I had rolled all the way into the grass off of the ceremonial field. Like, I'm rolling on the floor. And I'm like, I did not think that that's what I was doing. So, and I think I did it first. So my homegirls were looking at me like, I don't know if I want to do it. So I had the most beautiful experience. So with that though, when I was having sex with my partner, it elevated my ability to reach that almost that same level through orgasm. So I was like, holy shit, I didn't realize those two could be reached in the same, like in different ways, but the same space, right? So that took me down this like ridiculous rabbit hole about the truth of orgasms, because before I'm just being like addicted to the pleasure and the, you know, the downloads and the connection that it brings me when I get into that orgasmic level. And I've broken down the levels so people can understand, and I'm going to release this soon, because a lot of women think they're having orgasms, but they're really not. A lot of women think they're squirting, they're really not. A lot of women think they're having like female ejaculation, but they're really not. and I just want to bring clarity around, again, the right information around sexual energy. But those were the two, like just having really profound transcendent orgasms, and then Bufo. And those were the two things that really showed me pure consciousness in a way that changed my life.
Damn, girl. Wow. That's amazing. So did you ever know that like sexuality and being in this role of a teacher around this was going to be part of your path? Or like you were saying in the beginning, did you just feel like it just showed itself to you in a way? Or did you have a knowing earlier on?
No, that's a good question, because I grew up in Minnesota, and I'm the youngest of my mother's 4 daughters. And so my older two sisters, they were going to this rec center where they had these classes where you can learn about leadership and you can learn about pregnancy prevention. So there were 2 classes, and they would pay you a stipend to attend them. So I'm like 12, and I'm just thirsty to get in there, because I'm like, I want some money. Like, I want to get a stipend every month just for sitting in a class learning. And the stipend was like $25, $50, but you rack them up and you're 12, 13 years old. That's a lot of money. So they allowed me to get into the class early, which I normally wouldn't have supposed to get in there until like 14. But I started learning about adolescent pregnancy prevention stuff at 12. And they were teaching you about STDs, about the body parts, about, the reproductive system, about just everything that had to do with sex. And I was so intrigued by it. Like, I'm like, wow, this is fascinating stuff. And on my 13th birthday, I asked my neighbor dude, you know, like, hey, I want to lose my virginity tomorrow for my birthday. Like, you'd be down?
What did he say?
Like, you know, I think he's like 16, 17 or whatever at this time. And he's like, you know, hell yeah, what you talking about?
I would be very surprised if it was no.
No, ma'am, I'm sorry. No, he definitely, because he had already been like pressing me real hard.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was like, okay, we gonna call him Q. So I gave him my virginity. And he took his time with appreciation and honor. Okay. The first time I had sex, I had an orgasm.
Wow.
Okay.
Have you had sex before?
First time. No. Okay.
Have you had an orgasm before? Right.
Yeah. Like, no. Like, no. Like, orgasm? No. But making myself feel good while touching myself and experiencing those pleasures. And, like, I never even, like squirted or came through me playing with myself because I was too nervous of how that sensation could grow and what it would grow to. Mm-hmm. So when I was playing with myself, I would just do like a bunch of, you know, what do they call it? Where you climax and edging.
Edging. Yeah.
I would do a lot of edging. Yeah. So when I had my first orgasm, it turned me into a monster. Because I'm like, what do they all feel like? Like, what? Like, I need more field research. But you know, for a while, him and I did it for a very long time. And then eventually I started to branch out and explore more. And that, I did that from age 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Until I was 28, 29, and then, so from 13 to 28, I was a straight man-eater, savage, just like, only cared about my pleasure. Like, I had never had bad sex because I was very particular and low-key predator. Sorry to even, like, use that word in this day and age, but I was a predator. Like, I would see a dude, and I'd be like, oh, yeah, I'm about to get him. And I would get him every time. Like, there was never a time where I did not get the dude that I was scouting, right? So I just felt so empowered, so liberated, so fully expressed, so free in my form, so just like badass. And like anything, like men couldn't tell me shit. Like I would be like, you know, I'm not feeling this. And I would be done. Like I'd be like, this doesn't feel good to me. And like I would just be so vocal and like unapologetic about their feelings. Like I don't care what you feel and think. This is about me, you know. And so that changed when I met a man who didn't tolerate me being a bitch like that. He put my ass in my place. He put me in my place. Love this podcast. So
this is so different from all my other ones. I hope that people are like, ooh, sex? This is going to be spicy. They click on it. You know what I mean? Sex.
It is going to be real as fuck. Okay? Because I cannot filter myself. I cannot, like, try and please nobody's ears. But yeah, in my life, I experienced various stages of my sexuality. So I have been that, like, man-eater. I have been that surrendered, hopeless lover that's like, you're my king, I worship you, how can I ever leave you, you're my everything, to fuck him, like, you know, like I've been all the things. I've been like, oh, let's just hang out, we're homies, let's play. So I've gotten a very expansive viewpoint on dealing with my sexual energies. So it's just been part of me.
Yeah.
So now I'm getting back to teaching because now I'm realizing like teaching is within my bones. It's just what I love. Even that adolescent pregnancy prevention class I taught for a summer or two with another person because they were gonna stop doing it, and I'm like, you can't stop. I'll teach it. So we hosted it for a while. So like I've always been very much about educating people about their sexuality, whether it's liberating them, showing them about the sacred components, teaching them about their physical experience, all of those things.
Yeah. Just hearing your like your personal experience, it's very different than mine because like, okay, I have never even had an orgasm before. When I was young, I was like in middle school, and people were talking about like dildos and like all that stuff, and like people were like attracted to each other, and I was like, you know what, I need to stay far away from all of those people. They're like I was like all these people with their hormones, like middle school, high school. I was like, no, stay far away from me. But this also caused me to like, I still like would touch myself basically, but like I wouldn't. There was a long period of time that I would not even go under my clothes. Like I would just like, even in high school, I would just stay on top of my clothes. I was too scared. I was like too scared to go and touch it. I was too scared. And then like, and I would just be like, and I've never even had an orgasm. So it just, I just go to the edge and I feel like, and all the sensation just dissipates. There's many reasons for that, but like not that I don't feel good. The dopamine gets released, you know what I mean? It still feels good. I was trying to say something. What was I trying to say? Forgot where I was going with that, as it usually happens. But
well, that's fine because you made me think about something, because that era of like, it is a shamed sexuality when you feel like that part of you should not be explored, it should not be touched, it should not be seen, it should not be talked about. Just it should not be anything, like, yeah. If there's any feelings, and I went through that after my breakup because I had never had a shame sexuality. So me trying to help people unshame their sexuality, I came off very like pompous, like you don't understand the struggle. Like you don't get it. Like, so, and I didn't get it. I didn't understand why people were so disconnected like that. And I had to go through it for myself in order to like understand empathetically the depth of being like underneath that spell of being disconnected from your sexuality. Yeah. And I went through a shame sexuality for 3 to 4 years. I want to say 3 to 4 years of my life. Probably just 2 to 3. Yeah, because of the opinions that I allowed to attach myself to, and the beliefs that I decided to believe in deeper than my own beliefs. Started to being around people who were deep followers of Jesus. Not saying that, those people are right, wrong, or bad, or indifferent. I'm just saying that the 3 people that I had in my life that felt like my love wasn't good enough for them, and that I needed to change my views and my beliefs to match something more unconditional and self-sacrificing for loyalty, family, and love. Like I trusted in that aspect because I trusted in their heart. Like I was like, well, you guys are good people, you guys are loving people, you're only trying to help me grow and be different and evolve. And it put a lot of shame on my sexual expression and the way that I connect with myself sensually. And so I literally had to use my own philosophy, my own practices to get me out of where I ended up. And I didn't even know where I was until I got out of it. Like I'm just like miserable. Like you said, wouldn't even touch myself. I didn't even have sex for 1.5 years because, and that was the longest. I never even understood how people used to be like, oh, I haven't had sex in 3 years. Oh, I haven't had sex in any amount of time over than 2 months. I just could not understand it. And so I experienced that and I was like, holy shit, so much I learned in that time. of like conflicting information. Like, how do I be in my sacred sexuality? How can I honor my sexuality while still honoring my values and my beliefs and, universal law and how I want to, you know. So it is a very confusing cycle.
Yeah, there's so much to go into based on what you just said, but just to continue off of what you said and what I wanted to say earlier is that like religion and certain spiritual beliefs, and I was not religious, but since I was 12, I was deep into reading like Buddhist texts or like yoga stuff or like anything like that. I was reading a bunch of those texts, and sometimes based on the time period those texts were written in, they tell you to not be attached to the pleasures of the body. And so this just caused me to not even consider the pleasures of, and it caused me to have this really toxic relationship of my own body, my own embodiment of my body, my own pleasure, like something that it's just not good for me. And this isn't even from like, religious, this is just from like spiritual texts. And I don't believe in that anymore. You know what I mean? Like and I'm just trying to, right now for myself, I'm trying to like balance like understanding how I can deeper embody myself being a human on this earth, like in the body and not ignore the body and not try to escape the body. You know what I mean? And part of that is sexuality. Like you can't ignore that part. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is my dive back into that.
No,
and then also,
that's my whole philosophy. Yeah. Like that's my whole philosophy behind, because so many people think that one thing is better than the other. Like 3D, they think 3D is the worst, 4D is good, and 5D is the best, right? In actuality, each one needs to be embodied harmoniously, right? That is the divinity. When you can be harmonious and aligned in your worldly affairs, when you can be harmoniously aligned in your internal affairs, and when you can merge those two together to flow harmoniously as one, that's your 5D activation. And people see from, even when you get into spirituality, and I went through this thinking that my way of thinking is the best and the greatest way of thinking, and other people who are still stuck in, worldly affairs and stuff, 3D, they're missing out, they're less than. Like, I definitely went through all that.
Me too.
But when I broke down sexual energy, masculine and feminine. So I'm gonna break this down as clear as I have it in my mind. Okay. So you have yin yang, right? You have feminine energy and masculine energy. Both of these energies can be expressed in a wild way and in a divine way. The wild and divine expressions of the masculine and feminine energies can have an harmonized flow of energy, or it can have a disrupted flow of energy. So already you have wild feminine presence, right? Or wild feminine power, which is our emotions. It's our pull towards pleasure. It's our confidence, our eroticism, our sexuality. It's our yearning for sensation. It's that part. That's the wild feminine power. That wild feminine power can be expressed harmoniously with harmonized energy in a very divine way, or it can be expressed in a very disrupted energy flow in a very toxic way. So when it comes to your wild feminine power expression, that's your unapologetic authenticity. It's your eroticism. It's your fearlessness. It's your emotional depth. It's your unique personality, your eroticism, your sexuality, your sensuality, your uninhibited, raw, primal expression. Okay? It is a part of a very expansive part of you, right? So now you have your wild feminine power. Then you have your divine feminine presence. This is all about sensory awareness, your intention, your curiosity, your receptivity, your observation, your gratitude, energetic resonance. Like this is all that, tune in, tap in, explore your inner worlds, be present, understand your perception. Like that is the divine feminine presence, which, which gets more praise because of the grounded woman who wants to nurture her children and take care of the farm. And, that type of energy where you're just present, you're grounded, you're connected to the things that matter, within the earthly realm, right? So you're really
Right.
you're really serious with your relationship dynamics. Like your whole purpose is to put your love towards connections with relationships, right? With the wild feminine, it's putting your love into pleasure. It's doing whatever the flow feel good, wherever your desire takes you, right? So those are the feminine aspects. And even the divine feminine presence can be in a disruptive flow where you're staying in situations longer than you should, tolerating a lot of things, self-sabotaging. Like obviously all of these ones do have a disrupted expression, but there's no need to talk about that because we're really focusing on the beautiful sacred expression of the components of sexual energy. So now that you have your yin with your wild and your divine feminine, you have your yang with your wild and divine masculine. Now you have your wild masculine strength. Now, a lot of men are disrupted in their wild masculine strength, but also equally harmonized. They have, we normally have both, some disrupted parts and some harmonized parts. But with wild masculine strength, that is your, conditional love. You're getting shit done and then you can give your love. So you're focused on achieving, you're focused on accomplishing, you're focused on a mission, you're focused on a passion. So your love is geared toward like getting what you need to feel strong and secure in the world. So you're going to have aligned values, you're going to have harmonized beliefs, you're going to have resilience, perseverance. Like you're going to have those type of wild, beautiful, masculine strength components. I personally am working on my masculine strength right now because I used to have a lot and then it got shattered. And now I'm trying to build back up my courageousness, my bold, take action, stand firm on my boundaries and my beliefs and like stand firm on my mission, like be unapologetic with what the fuck I stand for and where I'm going. Like I love conditional love with the wild masculine structure. So then you have and the unharmonized or the disrupted of the wild masculine structure is obviously men who beat people, who are like annoyingly aggressive and angry and they want to just use their power to control or stuff like that. So then you have
and when you say conditional love with the wild harmonized aspect, did you mean like the boundaries that you're able to set?
Exactly. So with the love that's expressed through your wild masculine strength is going to be a conditional love. And you have to accept that kind of love for that season of your life. With the divine feminine presence, that's a tribal, when you're in 3D, it's a tribal love. So your tribal love is like my family, my community, those are the people who I stand for, hold down, my love connections. I'm going to be present, fully connected and surrendered to this person, right? And then and then at 4D and 5D becomes more universal love. Then you start going beyond just your family and your community, and you go into people who have differences from you, and you go into the collective, and you go into humanity, and then you go into nature. So like as you expand your reach of your love, then you go from tribal to universal with your divine feminine presence. With wild feminine power, you have experiential love. So like your love is based on experiences and pleasures and stuff like that. So it's the homegirls that want to go play and party and have fun and have a good time and travel. Like that's what we're all about. And then you have like also experiential love for me, and and those things can be harmonized too. So it just depends on where you're at in your journey, whatever. But it's what you think is good is what's gonna feel good. So right now, my experiential love with my wild feminine power is just my creative expression. So I find pleasure in like going to watch musicians and building my skills, and like, so that to me is pleasurable experiences where I'm at right now in my life, right? So you have a different expression of love based on the sexual energy that's most prominent and present in your life at that moment. So I have to be okay with knowing that I'm in a wild masculine strength and wild masculine structure type of energy right now, because I'm already set in my feminine energies. Like, I got those in a bag. I'm trying to figure out how to really embody masculine strength and masculine structure, because I'm so flowy and I'm so surrendered, right? Now it's like, okay, flow within a container and surrender while being firmly grounded in your beliefs and values, right?
Yeah.
So then that brings me to unconditional love, which is your divine masculine structure expression, which is why they try to make, divine masculine is the most like surrendered, all-encompassing love, because it holds all the other loves. It holds your conditional love, your universal love, your experiential love. It holds all the other feminine power, feminine presence, masculine strength. The structure is what you're building all of that on top of, and it's holding all of that within. So that's that's building frameworks and systems, and it's just making sure that you have intention behind why you're doing the things, and you have focus and strategy and flexibility and implementation, and you're taking a bird's eye perspective to look at things. You're very observant. You have clear strategy. Like, masculine structure is very much like a maneuver. It's like, let me handle this and shift that there. I don't got that. Okay. I'm just go with the wind and trust what happens where I land. You know what I mean?
I
so
resonate.
Like, I have to develop so I'm going to attract people who have what I don't. So I'm attracting people who have a conditional love and an unconditional love, that masculine strength and that masculine structure. If I'm looking for someone.
So just to break it out, masculine strength is the conditional love, and masculine structure is the unconditional love?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And all of them are equally important. So the people who are like, conditional love is the best, you have to, put yourself first. That was me for a long time. Like, just focusing on like putting me first and my values and my beliefs. But you have to do that until you have fully harmonized that embodiment, right? If you haven't, you're going to keep repeating the cycles, keep attracting people to show you the lessons you need to learn within that love in order to evolve it. Most people don't take a love that came to them and be like, and that broke their heart as a heart that they can learn from. They see that heart as something that wasn't good enough for their heart, instead of being like, so with my ex, like, he is very masculine structure, masculine strength. And for a long time, I'm like, he doesn't want me to be free. He won't let me express my wild, feminine, emotional self. He's not a container for me. He doesn't know, like, blaming him for all these things he's not doing that I should be doing for myself with my own developed masculine strength and structure. But I'm yearning and needing him because he's given me a taste of it in such a strong way, where I'm like, just keep giving it to me. I don't want to produce this energy on my own. Just do it in the way that I need you to do it, and then we'll be good. But I can't decide how his sexual energy expressions are going to be expressed, whether disrupted or harmonized. I can't make all his disrupted traits just be harmonized. I can't expect that from him. What I can do is harmonize it within my own body and be that for myself. And when people can start looking at the loves that come into their life that they feel is not good enough or not at their level, it's obviously being attracted to you because there's something you need to learn from that love that has come into your life.
Yeah.
And that will change you and harmonize your sexual energy when you take people who's coming into your life as like, oh, they're bringing beauty into my life. What beautiful aspects do they have that I can incorporate into my body? instead of just focusing on the negative ones that they don't have in the way that you needed to make you feel good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Seeing everything as a gift to learn from and align yourself further with like your own divinity and your own harmony, right?
While being grounded in your belief system, but it's like this is going to be controversial, but I like codependency.
In what way?
Codependency teaches me so much greatness, but can become dangerous. So when you become codependent, that is you appreciating a quality of their love or expression that you wish to have. So your duty during codependency is to learn and absorb and like really pay attention to how they're doing it, how they're acting in it, how they're, using it in their awareness, like just really get curious about the aspects that you love about this person that you just attached yourself to. Do that, right? This is how humans learn. This is how children learn, and we are all still children. So we have to learn from mirroring. And mirroring, you kind of get codependent on that mirror showing you what you need to do. But once you learn it and you have it ready from the source that came to show it to you, and you've embodied it, you learn how to do it, you put it into practice, you release the attachment, the codependent attachment to them.
Just like kids with parents, right? They have to form a codependent attachment or they're not going to like actually survive. Yeah. But then they learn and then they can go out on their own type of thing.
Right. But since we never got a harmonized love that we feel is good enough for us, we continue to keep the codependency attachment because we don't realize that we need to incorporate it in our own, embodiment and apply it, chew the pieces and swallow the ones that work and spit out the ones that don't. But to know how to do that and know how to understand which parts need to be swallowed and which part needs to be spit out. But most people are swallowing everything. They're like, give it to me. Oh my God. And that was me. Like everything my ex was telling me, I believed in him like a fucking cult leader. Okay. I'm like, I had no grounding in my belief system and values and like who I was. And I allowed myself to be fully shifted to fit the kind of love that he needed to feel whole. I will never do that again.
And this kind of goes with a question I had. Like, what do you feel like are the roles of the masculine, like the more masculine person and the more feminine energy during sex? Now, of course, we both have masculine and feminine energy, but like during sex, like I'm not trying to be a man, like
no, there are some women who are trying to be a man, and I think that's why figuring out your sacred sexuality is so important based on the themes of your sexual energy so that you can put together what works best for you. Me personally, I love a combination. Like I love manhandling a man. You know what I mean? I love like talking reckless. Like I love talking reckless, but I also love talking sensual and nurturing and loving. And I love surrendering and just laying there and him be my anchor back into, reality as I float off into ethereal bliss. You know what I mean? Like, so I want to be able to flex and flow and just kind of do what feels most inspired in any moment. So there is no particular way, but I will say a woman has to experience every expression of being in sexuality in order to understand what she wants. So again, like I've been the fish just laying on the floor, you know what I mean? Like just doing nothing because I'm focused on my internal world and where that's taking me. And then so it's like 3D sex, 4D sex, or 5D sex. You know what I mean? 3D sex is going to be mostly what the world is doing, where it's like throw it back, bounce on it, squirt on it, do all the things. Like we having a good time. Everything is physical body. And then you have the 4D intimacy. You're so silly.
That was funny.
But that is also fun. Like, I love 3D sex. Like, 3D sex is where it's at because it's honoring the pleasures of the body. And I'm for that. I support that. We are here for pleasure. Yeah. So then you have your 4D interaction where he has to understand his inner world just as much as she has to understand her inner world. So there's things that are going down where he needs to learn how to cycle his sexual energy in his body without immediately ejaculating. He needs to think beautiful, loving thoughts to hold space for the energetic field that I'm creating. So with me in my world, I'm doing the same. I'm cycling. I'm paying attention to the flow and rise of my sexual energy, trying not to be distracted by the bodily sensations. And that's why most people cannot tune inward and reach orgasm, because it is extremely difficult when you can feel the veins sliding across your walls and it's pulsating and you can't help but to moan and like melt. And then you have to still at the same time try to go inside your body, not focus on the external pleasure that's bringing you so much bliss. Learn how to channel that sexual energy and move it through your chakras up to your crown, cycle it through, hit the pineal gland, go back down, drop your, it's just so much work that needs to happen internally. And I have not found the 5D sex of balancing those two together. Where I can actively do the internal work that I need to do while also handling and enjoying the 3D stuff that I want to do and feel, and then let the whole thing be this orchestra symphony of magic. That's my next era. And I just can't wait for it.
So what is the, can you go deeper into, what is the internal, bringing up the sexual energy? Is it, onking? Help me understand. Okay. What do you do? How do you do it?
Oh, God, you're getting such juicy information right now. Oh, my God. Okay, this actually is good. It's helpful to tell people this because
whatever you want to tell, yeah.
Well, it's good because most women struggle reaching climax because they are in their head thinking about their limitations, thinking about what he's thinking about, responding to what they sense, what they think they sense. Just all these things going on in their head other than them actually being in their world, right? So what I do. So when I love being penetrated and I love slow sensual head. Those two things where, I'm being penetrated or I'm getting slow sensual head, I'm able to, so I'm pulsing my walls, I'm doing Kegels essentially. But what I'm doing in my awareness is I'm sucking up the energy through my root chakra, through my perineum, right? Through that little area right there. I'm sucking up the sexual energy, building it up. I see that in my mind's eye. So I'm picturing, at this point, I'm picturing a red light growing. Okay, I'm picturing the red light growing, expanding.
And when do you do this? When you begin to feel the pleasure?
Well, ooh, okay, good question. Okay, so my your vagina will immediately start to pulse like this. When you're getting ready to when sexual energy is building up. You'll feel this. Okay. You'll feel that. Okay? I amplify it by doing it with it. So while my body is already doing this by itself subconsciously, I consciously
do that motion.
This. Yeah. So this is going fast subconsciously, but my rhythms are pulse with me, right? So as I'm pulsing and I see that red light growing with the sexual energy in there, boom, it goes up to my sacral chakra now. I see the orange light growing and expanding.
Does it just move by itself?
Rising.
Does it like you just feel it going up by itself? Like when you're doing the
Yes.
would you say the Kegels? I've never done the Kegels, so I don't know. I don't know what that is.
You
So like the egg?
know what a Kegel is. You know how to Kegel. Like, it's just like when you have to stop pee from coming out and you clench your coochie. Like,
Okay.
That's a Kegel by doing it rapidly. Like, but you're not pulling from your urethra area. You're pulling from your perineum vaginal hole. Like, you're sucking that part in. So imagine if there was a straw is in your vaginal opening and you're trying to suck ice cream through it.
Oh my god.
It's gonna be a little challenging. You gotta suck really hard. So you have to pull that energy through that straw, okay? So the ice cream is sexual energy in this analogy, right?
Okay.
So you're pulling the ice cream through the straw. It goes really slow because it's thick and you want to go through the journey with it. Real sexual energy ain't thick. Let's it's very whimsical, but we're going to use this analogy.
Okay.
So now you keep pulling it, you keep sucking it through as it rises. Now you're at your sacral, now you're at your solar plexus, that's growing. Now you're at your heart, and now this isn't a fast process at all. Like, a lot of the times I'll stay at the sacral and root for a while because I'm enjoying the physical pleasure. Okay?
Right.
And I'll just keep sucking that energy right there and circulating it and amplifying the way that I release the sexual energy, whether it is through squirting or coming or ejaculating. Well, at the point where my energy awareness is only at my root and sacral, I can't reach female ejaculation yet. I need heart chakra energy to actually female ejaculate. So as I get up, I'm going to solar plexus, I'm going to heart. Now, heart, I stay there for a while because it's so expansive, right? It feels so good. This is like the build up before the climax, a second climax, because when you get to your throat chakra as the manifestation portal, that is another area where you emerge into now the cosmic third eye crown chakra shit. Now that's where all the 4D fun play is. So as I'm in my heart chakra, I really allow myself to feel grateful and present and connected to who and what I'm with. So if I'm with someone, I'll be grateful for their presence, for their love, for whatever. If I'm just with myself, I give myself that same honor. I'm so, like, I gas myself up when I'm masturbating. Like, I really talk to myself. I'm really, like, super rubbing on myself, squeezing my inner thighs, like, doing so much. And so that kind of expands the energy. It opens it up to get it ready to propel through the throat chakra. The throat chakra and the sacral chakra are the 2 points where when you go from sacral to solar plexus, you're going from 3D to 4D. When you're going from throat chakra to third eye, you're going from 4D to 5D. So you get 3 different experiences sexually. When you're in this middle section, the 4D, that's where the orgasm.
What is 4D exactly? Like, so 3D obviously is like the physical pleasure, and then I'm kind of like, how do you distinguish 4D and 5D?
Okay, so 4D is going to be, so if 3D is your fascination in your interaction with the external world, 4D is your fascination and interaction with your internal world.
Okay.
Those are the only two, like, it's the simplest distinction between that.
Outward, inward.
When you get into 5D, that means you have transformed your 3D energy from disrupted to harmonized. You've transformed your 4D energy from disrupted to harmonized. You've combined them to a harmonious synergy where that is 5D.
Okay, got it. Makes sense. Thank you.
Yes. So as I'm going through the solar plexus, the heart, and the throat, those are 4D experiences where I have to take my focus from root and sacral, which is the physical pleasure, the external stuff, and bring myself inward. And the best way for me to bring myself inward is through the heart. You know, some people can bring themselves inward through their voice by just letting, like I do that, letting sound out. Like I'll just let out any sound. It'll, like I go, like I do whatever sound comes out of my mouth. Some people can do it through their solar plexus, which is their power, their authenticity. So they're like, you know, talking shit, or they're like, talk to me, say things to me. Like they want affirmations, they want, you know, stuff like that. So however you tune in inward, you use either your solar, your heart, or your throat to go inward, right? And then it'll keep you from focusing too much on the pleasure where you can't actually focus on the inward. So it is a skill to be able to do that while
balance
experiencing. That's where then you come into 5D with the third eye and the crown. And I also talk about the Bintu chakra because that's another one that's like in the back of your head where your masculine and feminine brain meets in the centers, right in that groove. So all that stuff up there then brings you into the orgasm, the noun, right? The transcendent, psychedelic, euphoric experience where you're getting downloads. And then through that, you can release this powerful nectar that is a whole nother story that we won't get into today. But when you actually get the energy circulating up here, you can release this serum.
like physically?
Like physically, girl, it gets so crazy. You'll feel it drip down the back of your throat, and you can taste it. And you
what?
So
wait, what? I'm sorry. Wait, hold on, I've never heard of this before. only however much you want to.
Listen, it's so wild. When you get up there, things with your pineal gland is activating, right? And that's in charge of like releasing hormones and, you know, sending things to places. I ain't no neuroscientist, but I believe through my inner awareness experiences that there is this nectar called Amrita. When that comes out, it comes down and it goes into your solar plexus because that's your energy hub house. Like that's the sun, right? That's your sun of your body. That's what dictates your shine, your light, your aura. Where people are like, oh my God, like you just shine so bright, you're magnetic, right? So when it goes there, that energy, that serum, it warms up, right? It heats up. Normally it kills it and it doesn't make it to get through your release, like from arousal fluids. But if you can focus your awareness and carry that and follow that inner process, you will be able to have this nonstop leak. Like it is this warm, hot honey where it literally, what they call in ancient times, Amrita, is like the what do they call it? It's like something you drink, soma. It's like a soma tea, but people drunk it to get more powers, to feel invincible. Immortality tea is what they call it. Even I was watching the big blue creatures, Avatar.
Yes.
And they talked about Amrita in one of the videos, but did it in a way where they were talking about something they were extracting from this big old whale thingy, but they can only get a little bit of it. It's only in females in the crown. It was wild. I mean, my whole mind was blown. And
is it spelled? Is it Amrita? Okay.
Yes.
Amrita.
Yes. And that is the ultimate release. When a man drinks that from you, it is a spell. It is. So it is a spell. It's a potion.
Only women can like have that Amrita? Or
from what I know.
Also? Okay.
From what I know.
Now, what about like the whole chakra like experience? Can men do that too?
Absolutely.
Like in a different,
Absolutely. Okay. And I hope that there becomes a man that decides to explore in the depth that I have for the woman so that we can understand their experience as well. Because I don't want to do it. I'm not that interested in what they got going on. We are way more fascinating. No offense.
Yeah, I really like how you describe the whole like chakra process and like bringing up the energy and having that balance between like what you're feeling and your awareness and your intention. And that honestly sounded like a mushroom ceremony, like how you were describing it, to have that balance of like even like all the things, like I literally just had a mushroom ceremony yesterday.
Ooh.
The first time in a year, basically. But it's like to have all those, right, to have all those things come up, all the emotion, all the sensation, all of the, you know, subconscious, everything, but then also to maintain your awareness and to know where you're going, like having that clarity. That's kind of like what I experienced yesterday. So it's like I just be connecting together, you know. Everything's a ceremony.
Everything's a ceremony.
But I literally didn't ask you this question, but what is sacred? Just to like define it, like what is sacred sexuality? Like what is this?
Oh, man. So when I speak about sacred sexuality, it's about expressing your sexual, well, let me break down what sexuality is first.
Okay.
Because that's going to make more sense.
Okay.
Because a lot of people think sexuality is just like who you date and how you date, how you fuck, or whatever. But it's just who you are. Your sexuality is the way you express and perceive your energy. Okay? So if you express and perceive your energy, whether it's the energy that's flowing through you or the energy that you choose to flow towards other people or the energy that you don't choose to flow toward people, your energy is your sexuality. Okay? So when it is not sacred, when your expression and your perceptions are coming from limiting beliefs and a chaotic mind that is not aligned with your heart truths, and you have, you know, all these behaviors that you feel bad about, all these desires that you don't allow, you know, anything that you are suppressing, dismissing, or not paying attention to energetically within your body is a shamed sexuality. So what makes it sacred is aligning your thoughts, your behaviors, and your habits to your heart and to your the awareness of the dimension that you're in. So if you're in root and sacral chakra awareness, you need to live that up to the fullest to become harmonized in it in order to even elevate to the fourth dimension, to even understand why you would want. So in that 3D, it is all about really surrendering, falling in love, or getting hurt. Something needs to happen in your physical life that's traumatizing or debilitating or something that makes you sit the fuck down and explore what's going on. Why you keep attracting these certain situations, why you keep having these kind of thoughts, why you keep yearning for certain things, why do you feel like you lack certain things. It is all your sexual energy trying to communicate to you. Your thoughts are literally just thought messengers from your sexual energies trying to let you know what it needs. But most of the time,
sexual energy, it's like the life force, right? And then like sexuality is your interaction with that life force internally and externally, right? Yeah.
You
to
with
put
me.
it
You
in
with
like
me.
different words, yeah.
You with me.
Yeah.
So where was I? So essentially, yes. So whatever so say your divine feminine presence needs more allowing, more accepting of like what's in front of you, right? It will send thought messengers up to your head to let you know about that need based on how you're perceiving the life around you. So if I'm getting these thoughts like, I need to cut everybody off. I need to just move. I need to get away. I need to be secluded. But then you're like, no, I can't do that because I gotta work. I gotta take care of my child. I gotta do all these things. You're dismissing the need of your divine feminine presence. You're dismissing that need of solitude, of allowing and then just surrendering to what is right now so that you can feel the fullness of that energy and be complete, right? But instead we think we have to do certain things or we need to do certain things other than honoring what the fuck our sexual energy is telling us to do within these thought messengers. But we take these thought messengers and push them away and don't explore them and don't dive deeper and be like, okay, what the fuck is this telling me? What is it that I need? But since no one has like a structure to organize the inner world, they don't even know how to approach it, how to categorize things. And that's essentially what I've done using sexual energy's wisdom.
So how can we like embrace this receptivity, this allowing to the divine more? Like, what would you say? How can we be more, I guess like this is in line with being more embodied within feminine energy, whether you're a man or a woman?
So this is my expertise because most of my life I've lived in my receiving mode until I came into a shame sexuality. Like, beforehand, I just followed my feel-good flow. I followed the wind. I followed what came in front of me. I accepted what came in front of me. Like, there was a time, like, I was in, Minnesota, and I didn't really have a place to stay. I was just bumming it, sleeping on like friends' couches. My sister let me stay with her. My mom was not having it. She didn't move to Louisiana. She was like, girl, I am not keeping taking care of your grown ass. And I'm just like, I was a bum. But I was having the time of my life. You couldn't tell me I was a bum at that time. I didn't even know like what that would like that thought didn't even cross my mind. I was sleeping in my car. All of my clothes and everything was in my car. I was working this 24-hour in-house care job just so I could have a place to sleep 4 days out of the week. Like, I could do an extra double overnight shift, working 24-hour shifts from Thursday to Monday at this old lady house, making sure she don't fall and she get her meals and she takes a bath. You know what I mean? I'm like, hell yeah, I can do that. So receptivity to me is just being okay with whatever is in front of you. Like, if you are having financial issues, what looks like receptivity and being okay with where you are is, okay, let me sit down and see what this is saying. Like, how can I align myself to where I'm at? If I'm seeing that I only am bringing in $200, well, let's say a day, a week, whatever. Let's say a week. So I'm only bringing in $200 a week, but I've been living as if I'm bringing in $7,500 a week. You know what I mean? It's like you're not being receptive to where you are right now to honor where that is. So now you have to change certain behaviors and habits to match where you're at. But most people don't want to change their subconscious programming of habits and behaviors to adjust to where they are. They feel like they have to strive and achieve and get somewhere instead of realizing like where you are right now is so magnificent if you just sat down, looked at it, and appreciated it.
It's
and
the gift.
Flowing through that with a sense of like, I think there's something that I am gonna coin, because I have lived with a very entitled mindset with the divine, where I'm like, I'm always protected. Everything always works out for me. Money does grow on trees. Like, the universe always got my back. Like, everything is laid out for me perfectly. And it should be, because I'm that bitch. Like, I literally think I am so magnificent, which is why I had to be humbled a few times in life, because I haven't figured out how to balance that knowing with my 3D reality. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, I know I'm a fucking god. Like, when Kanye said he was a god, I said, I feel you, my guy. Like, I feel like that too. So it's like being able to humble yourself while being entitled to the universe, oh, it is a beautiful way to bask. Beautiful way.
So how would you like, so you know, like the manifestation like technique that's like living from the end state, like living as if you have like that 7,500, like, so how would you balance like kind of like what do you think about that, like living as if like
Yeah.
you, like you, what living like who you actually are, you know what I mean, like, yeah, like you are this like goddess, like living as that, but also understand, being open and humble to the lesson of life in front of you, like how do you balance this?
Yeah, super cute question. So it's understanding 3D, 4D, 5D. So me knowing that at a 5D level, I am divinely protected, entitled, worthy, beautiful, magnificent. But in this 3D world, I'm just a fucking human, right? So when I can have that understanding of being like, I am still this divine, magnificent, powerful, extravagant being, and I get to have all these different 3D experiences to show me life, right? Like I came here as an energy to explore and share my medicine on this earth, with my medicine just being me. So it isn't about me being like, I'm this amazing goddess, amazing, abundant, divine essence. And I need to go buy this luxury bag. And I need to go and spin and go eat at all these like top notch Michelin star restaurants. And I need to be in the most luxurious gowns, and like, it doesn't mean that at all. Like, even just how certain people think when certain spiritual people tap into spirituality, they think, I'm this like divine goddess and I have to dress a certain way and I am the mother of earth and I just cannot be anything other than pure. And that is just so funny to me. Because that's not spiritual at all. That's you thinking that your 3D experience is spiritual, or you don't have a 3D experience, or your 3D experience is nothing and you're only just spiritual. It's just a very confused place to be for people, and I understand it because I was there for a little bit thinking that my spirituality held superior over other religions and other people who were just lost and like,
and being on earth as a human, like you're more superior than to be on earth, but here we are on earth being messy humans. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that exact, like we talked about this earlier, but that like kind of trap of oh, I found this knowledge, or I've taken this psychedelic and now I know all the answers to the universe, and these people don't, they're living in the matrix. Like, I mean, like I feel like a lot of people go through that. I'm so glad I'm not right there anymore, because I was like, I was so isolated. I isolated myself so much thinking like that also. Oh, nobody understands me. I can't even try to talk to other people. They won't get it.
Yep. Hilarious. Why are we all living the same lives? Like, that is so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like part of the reason I made this podcast, because I'm like, I know that's not how it works. I know it's like we are like together in this thing, and I don't know everything, and you know things that I don't know that I want to know, and then it's like, it's a little exchange thing. It's an exchange party. It's not like an I know everything and listen to me. It's like we do know, but we're here to honor ourselves and each other somehow in reciprocity. Yeah.
Exactly. And there was another thing I wanted to add about
go for it.
because what big other part that plays with that is, like, I used to have this really bad tendency of having a really good I mean, I always have really good ideas. Like, I give them away, like, at this point. Like, I'm just like, I am tired of having all these good ideas. Girl, just a direct, okay? And what I would do when I get really good ideas that resonated within my body, I will immediately try to do the top ladder next step, where I'm like, oh, like I wanna let me think of a good example. Like, I wanna write a book, right? My my next step is writing the book. It's me. It's me looking for book publishers, and I'm thinking the titles. I'm like just doing the things that is not the next best step. Like I've overstepped the other ladder points that go up to actually writing a book. And that's me being desperate. That's me being thirsty. That's me trying to achieve and accomplish and appease my ego. You will never receive reaching. Like, oh, I love this story, like a little ancient little story where he's like, he went to his guru master, and the guru master held an apple out for him. And the man would reach for the apple and the master would slap his hand. And he's like, what the hell? So the master reaches his hand back out and he's like, doesn't say anything, but it looks as if he's extending him the apple. And he reaches for it again. And the master slaps his hand. And so he's confused because I thought you want me to have the apple. And he's like, the guru's like, wait and receive. I will give it to you. You don't have to keep reaching for it. I will drop this in your hand when it is ready for you to get it. And so moving from this, I gotta figure out the next step. Let me to some extent, all this stuff is necessary, but not toward the higher ladder goal. So now it's like, okay, maybe I should just start writing little stories on Substack. That's a practical next best step. And then something that's for your book will come to you while you're doing that. So your next step will come to you. Maybe you'll get an email from someone who loves your blogs and wonder if you want to write for their magazine. And you're like, hell yeah. And then you go start writing for the magazine. And then you meet this other person who's a copywriter. And you're like, oh my God, I've been wanting to write a book. And they're like, oh, well, freely. It's like things just start to line up synchronistically where it's like, if I was reaching, I would have gotten what was not for me. But instead, I'm just going to follow the next best step and then receive what is or is not for me. But I get to decide when something is presented to me. Like, do I want this apple? I do want this apple. Thank you. But I'm going to take it now that you've given it to me. Someone give me something. Do I want this? I don't want this, actually. Thank you. You know what I mean? But it's my choice. It's not me efforting. It's not me trying to control my narrative and control my outcomes.
So you just show up to the space to do the work that's presented for you. Or how would you say? You show up to write the blog or whatever, and then you make space for, I don't know, how would you for whatever else wants to.
If the idea is to write a book, I'm not going to do anything with that idea to write a book. I'm just going to write it down on my list of ideas. What I am going to do, so I have a whole system for myself that, using the sacred wisdom of sexual energy, I'm able to break down an idea into the components of how I actually want to implement it, and then figure out the next best step for that particular idea. And it's never the top end goal, but I know that these are going to be the steps to get me there. And I just focus on that first one with my energy. So if my first focus toward being an author, writing a book, is to start writing stories on Substack, now I have to figure out what are the stories that I want to start writing that's going, so just being intentional about every single step. So it's I'm not just about to start writing stories on Substack. I'm then going to break down that into little bitty increments to see what is the habits that I need to be doing every day in order to reach that one idea goal. So it could be first me laying out the ideas that I want to talk about, me figuring out, watching some videos about how to grow on Substack, listen to some podcasts about Substack, or subscribe to some other people's Substacks and read through their stuff, see how they're doing it. So those will be my first steps. And then through that, I'll get the inspiration of what I want to write about. And then I can start writing. And then once I start, so everything is an incremental step toward the larger thing. If you already have the idea in your mind, that's why they say think it and then forget about it. You think it, you think, oh, I have this big idea, I want to be an author, it's done. You don't got to think about it no more. Go down to the very first ladder step and figure out what that step is, and now focus your attention there. Forget about the book, but focus your attention here, and then watch you end up at a book.
Yeah, that's interesting. So it's kind of like I listen to a lot of like Abraham Hicks also, and kind of like to correlate that to what you're saying, it's like you have your vision, and that vision's like the representation of the energy that you want to be in, and then you find just, because you just do one step at a time, but you're operating from that space of the vision. Kind of like that, would you say?
What do you mean operating from that space of division?
What do I mean? What do I mean operating from the space of the vision? It's like, I guess this is how I kind of operate things. Like, oh shit, how do I explain this? It's like the feeling of it. Do you know? Like, it's like the high vibration of the vision that you have. That's like your guiding light.
Yes, you need
That's
that.
What I mean.
You need that top light in order to then be pulled towards something instead of being pushed. Because I don't like being pushed. Don't fucking touch me. I want to be pulled towards something. And the only, even when I was trying to get into the gym, the only thing that pulled me in there to even start was how fine the men were in there. Like, I'm like, damn, like, they fine. And I'm like, oh, I'm about to get cute and start coming to the gym and just bullshitting, right? But then eventually, someone shows me an app where they're like, oh, this will show you what workouts you can do when you come into the gym. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Then I meet with someone else. He teaches me about, mobility and and like flexibility and really working on like knee over toe stuff. And so I'm like, oh my God, I love this. You just need something to pull you somewhere, and as soon as you get there, everything you need is gonna start flowing to you. But you can't be thinking about what you don't have or where you're not at or who ain't there. Like, you can't think about any of that.
It's like the pathway of excitement. Would you say? Like
the
pathway
I like
of each
that.
step. Okay, Bashar. It's Bashar's formula. Follow your highest excitement to the best of your ability. Bashar. No insist on the outcome. Like, that's
that's what I say by follow your feel good. Like, whatever feels good, like, that is your feminine, like, that's your feminine energy. When you flow towards your feel good, whether it's like an internal thing that is telling you, but it feels good, but it doesn't make sense in your reality, follow it. An external feel good, but it doesn't make sense in your collective or the people who their beliefs and their, thoughts and opinions, move toward it. You know what I mean? Juicy.
Yeah. Let's see what else here I want to ask you. Ooh. This, I would definitely want to ask this question. So, how can we utilize our sexual encounters to enhance our creative energy rather than diminishing it away? Because sometimes for me, like, I used to be addicted to like porn, and I would just, instead of like using my energy and okay, and also I want your opinion on porn. Hold on. On adult videos. Hold on. Like, I feel like the way I used it was not very conscious, and it's not a very high vibrational place as it is right now, the adult industry. I'm sure it could be in the future, a lot more conscious, but at the moment I don't feel like it is. And so, like, I would just get, and also when you get addicted to something, it like draws in your energy. And so I've had that experience. Instead of, being creative and flowing and feel good, I would just kind of like watch adult videos and then just feel drained. So I would have that kind of like empty feeling, that would signify to me that wasn't like the best, most conscious use of my energy at the time. Like, that was my signifier. But yeah, I just want to know, like, how do you utilize sexual encounters or even adult videos or like just like masturbation in a way that is actually enhancing of your creative energy and your life force rather than just kind of like throwing it away.
Yeah, really important. I think there's a lot of things, actually. So I'm trying to think like which one one I want to kind of give you. But
Mm-hmm.
something that kind of just comes up is like, I'll just say a few things that I personally do that I enjoy for this phase of my life. But I've enjoyed various different things in different phases. So that's why I'm saying there's so many options. But in this particular phase that I'm in, when I want to release energy or flow my sexual energy so that I can get creative, if I'm going to masturbate or watch something, I'm so childish. I watch Twitter porn because they're very short, sweet clips and they trigger my imagination.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll get, that in my mind. I'll keep the audio on because I love hearing moans and like smacks and like gushiness. Like I love hearing those
Mm-hmm.
sounds, but I will visualize an experience of someone that I'm like creeping on, someone that I have a crush on, and I'll just visualize an experience in my mind and masturbate to it and like just most of the time, if I come or squirt accidentally, like whatever. But a lot of times I don't really take myself there. I rise it to my to my sacral or solar or heart, wherever I need the expression that I'm looking for. And then I build it up there for a while. And then that gives me the energy that I need for that
Mm-hmm.
particular expression. So um that's one thing. And then with a partner, with a person, I should say, there's four things you can be with your heart or you can do with your heart. And that in turn is talking about what you're doing with your sexual energy, right? So you can invest your heart, and investing your heart, you are giving it to someone and not having it, like just giving it to them with expectations or guidelines for them to follow. Okay, like I've invested into this account, that means I expect you to deliver these outcomes, right? Investing your heart becomes dangerous because most people aren't looking into their invested accounts with as much intention and awareness as they should be. Whereas, like, if it was where you're investing your money, you would probably do some research and figure out where you're investing it. But most people don't do that with people. They just kind of invest it. And it's accidentally because as we're fucking them, it kind of already kind of gets invested a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have
Yeah.
control. So then you can surrender it. Now, surrendering it is different than investing it because with an investment, you're still holding on to it, right? You held on to
Mm-hmm.
it, you're giving it, but with the surrender, you completely give it away. Like that's what I did in my last relationship, which I plan on surrendering my heart. I love the feeling of surrendering my heart because it feels like the ultimate release of control, right? Oh, and I love to feel that kind of release. So you can't do either one of those in a fun sexual experience if you're just
Right.
trying to be, in your creativity and your vibe. You just have to be love or have it be present. Okay? Like like your love is present just as your resting state, and you share it with somebody. You share your love with somebody. You're not expecting anything from them. You are simply being your version of what love is, like confidently, courageously, however you choose to express your sacred sexuality, and that is going to give you that energy of like
Mm-hmm.
coasting after, because one, you're mentally aligned with what you're doing, your heart aligned with what you're doing, and you're physically aligned with what you're doing. You have no shame in either one of those expressions. Your thoughts are aligned with your everything, right? And that's how I choose to interact with, you know, people that I choose to have casual sex with, or I choose to build just partnerships with, not getting too romantic. I'm just sharing my love. And that's how I do in my friendships. I'm just sharing my love. I'm not expecting anything from you. I'm not giving you my heart, because surrendered love is only for those intimate marriage situations, right?
Yeah, like
Investing is investing your love is like family, your invested heart accounts, like some of my loyal loving friends. Like, I've invested my heart in some of them. My heart ain't surrendered to nobody right now because I'm trying to get my surrendered heart back. But now I just share it, and then I'll be it, you know.
So surrendered heart means, what does that mean? Wait, did you say that was the one with like the expectations? Like, I mean,
yeah, they
you're
both
investing.
So when you surrender and invest, you have expectations. That's why you put it in there. Yeah. So, but the surrender is completely hopeless. Like, surrendering over your love is like a cult situation where you no longer stand firm in your beliefs and values. You've surrendered that over to someone else.
And why would you do that? Like, what is that? What is that a representation of? Like, I'm trying to understand.
Listen, I personally don't know why somebody would do that. I did it. I know why they would do it. I'm tripping. I'm just being very dramatic. Surrendering your love gives you an opportunity to feel the presence of your divine feminine energy. Okay? When you surrender your love, like when you no longer feel like
did you just become the other person or something? Like, you just become them?
Okay, boom. Okay. So I'm trying to see how I can, because girl, the things that make sense in my head, I gotta remember, people don't think the way I think. Okay, so,
we're translating.
Okay. This is the part of why surrendered love is important. Okay, so at some point in your life, because again, each one of these loves is associated with one of your sexual energy's heart expressions. So when you're put in a position where you're at your divine feminine presence and your duty is to surrender your love, that means that you are forgetting about the ultimate forgiveness, right? The ultimate, nothing that has happened to me in this body has impacted my heart. And so even if it has, if I give you this love and I surrender it all to you and make all of my problems beautiful again, with like how people surrender it over to Jesus or surrender it over to God, you know, you give all of your pain, all of your suffering, all of your everything over to this person to be the keeper of, to be the safe space for, to hold you, to be that father mother energy that we crave, right? To be
that sounds
hopeless.
Really scary.
It is actually, and that's what I lost myself in, because I surrendered my heart without having masculine structure and strength to pull me back. So most women, they do that with their heart. They surrender it. A lot of women surrender, whether it's to a parent, a child, it's just somebody who they love so much, and they have these great expectations for, and they want them to do good, but they also want them to really love them in a way that makes them feel loved and seen and heard, so that they can
that reciprocity.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so they surrender their loves in hopes of getting what they need to feel held.
Mm-hmm.
But most people aren't getting what they need to feel held with the surrendered love, so they become bitter and resentful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So surrendering love, like, I will do it again because I love that sense of like surrender. I love surrender because you have to surrender to your energy in order to even reach higher levels of consciousness. Like, you have to be able to give over everything and just be like, okay, I trust where you're leading me. I trust where we're gonna go. Like, if I'm being honest, my favorite kink is having near death experiences, whether it's physical or energetic. Like, if I almost die, I feel like I'm about to surrender. Like, it's easier for me to surrender and reach those higher levels of bliss. So whether, it's like, drown me over the bathtub and, like, I really, like,
Stop.
literally smother me or something. I'm ridiculous.
Girl.
Or reach higher levels of ego death. So
Yeah.
if I can get a taste of that, or a taste of it in, like, getting a taste of it in either energetic or physical world is just as beautiful, but there has to be surrendered love there because there has to be trust,
Right. Well, my curiosity is like, how do you like also like, so like with surrendered love, like, do you not also hold yourself? Do you just give that to the other person to hold you? Like, do you still have some kind of like, I guess, protection of your like own
Like,
self?
if you have your masculine strength and structure in place. If you
Mm-hmm.
do, and
Right.
most women don't have masculine, because who taught us how to be a harmonized, aligned masculine
Nobody.
Right. No
Right.
fucking body, because
Yeah.
they're all disrupted in it. So we don't know how to do that over there. We know how to love. We know how to be free. We know how to flow. We know how to be emotional. We know how to explore. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not natural for us to know strategy, to think analytical about our life and about how we should be doing things. We go off of feeling. If it feels like I'm supposed to give this man my heart, I'm giving it. There was no guidelines, no self policies, no nothing. It was just, okay, yes, take me. I'm yours. I worship you. I love you. I believe in you. But there was not that same devotion and worship for myself to be able to realize, yes, you can do that for somebody, but that does not mean that they're greater than you. So I made him my greater God instead of recognizing that I am God first, and I can honor and worship him as another God while
Yeah.
still
Exactly.
maintaining my wholeness. But I couldn't
Yeah.
do that if I did not have like grounding in my strength and structure.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, oh my gosh, I was gonna say so much, but let's see. I mean, I feel like that's like in my perception, that's the like quote unquote like ultimate like reciprocity of love that we can have like for ourselves, and then for like, the mirror of what we're shown,
Mm-hmm.
like in myself and in the other. But okay, also, so real quick, I wanted to ask like your opinion on like adult videos, because I do still watch them sometimes, like I do, but it's just like, how do you do that and still use it consciously when sometimes it's like low vibe things can be on there, you know what I mean? And what like
Yeah.
yeah.
It's all about changing your beliefs around it. If you want to be a person that thinks watching porn is good, align your beliefs. If you want to be a person that thinks watching porn is bad, just align your beliefs with your actions. So if you're going to believe that it's bad, be okay not doing it. If you're going to believe that it's good, be okay doing it. That is literally the only thing that's going to bring you harmony in any situation. Is if the way you think about it matches the way you feel about it, you are going to have harmony. But when those two things don't fucking match, there will never be harmony. So me, for example, like, my mind is like, you can't be having sex with random people just off of a feeling that you felt, of lust, right? That's bad. that's what has been drilled into my head because that's 3D physical shit. Now, if I believe that and then I go somewhere and I have this feeling and I want to do it, but yet my brain is like, but no, remember, that's bad. And then I still do it, it's going to feel terrible because those two things were not in alignment.
Conflicted.
It conflicted, so now you conflicted. Now you thinking it's because of their energy, but really it was your conflicting ass energy going into it, not being firm and rooted and confident. Now, if I have a belief that I can do whatever the fuck I want, and when I feel like it's right, I will go with it, and if I feel like it's wrong, I will honor that. So then when the situation comes and I feel it, and I'm like, oh, yes, I want to honor this, I do it, and I feel amazing about it, empowered. I feel brilliant. I feel like I just conquered the world because everything within me aligned to that desire.
Okay, I see. Yeah. So that's how we do it consciously, by seeing like what truly is aligned with us and with
At
our
any moment in your
intention.
life. Yeah, because it could be different 8 years from now. You can be in a place today where you want to have belief in something that is that. You know what I mean? But then 8 years from now, you might say, no, I don't want to. But being flexible and present enough and aligned enough within your being to know that you have the control and the power to choose and to be whatever the fuck you want to be. There's literally how people have made right and wrong, good and bad.
Yeah.
It's confused so many people in thinking that things are right and wrong, good and bad, but there literally isn't. It's just however you see it and perceive it for your current phase in life is good or bad. It's whatever you think.
I love that. Yeah, thank you for saying that. I love that. And another question I want to ask is, like, in terms of like mainstream society, what do you feel like is, oh my gosh, what did I write over here? Where do you feel like mainstream society is not understanding like the true power of sexual energy? Like where do you feel like is like a major like pothole where like people are just, I guess, not understanding their power, their sexual power, and like what their sexuality. But at the same time, like knowing that yes, everybody has their own journey, and but like as I'm saying, like society as a whole, like how society has influenced us. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I got you. It just all boils down to, like, you know how we broke down. So most of the world sees masculine, feminine energy as, you know, masculine or feminine energy has a divine feminine and a toxic feminine. And the toxic feminine is just all bad altogether. And that has, and that's associated with anything that's sexual, emotional, pleasurable, expressive, right? That's the toxic, wild feminine. But my theory is there's no such thing as there's a disrupted wild feminine and there's a harmonized wild feminine, but there is still beauty in wild feminine. But there is no beauty mainstream when it comes to wild feminine. Wild feminine is just wild, should be shunned, should be shamed, should not be embraced, because they don't understand it in the way that I understand it, with having a beautiful and a chaotic expression. So that's like why it's so important.
Shadow the light.
Right. But they're seeing the shadow as bad. Instead of seeing them as just two, like yin yang is one word, right? Yeah. It should just be one word. But we have them separated because they think that there's a difference, that one is greater or less than. And it's confused a lot of people.
And then the shadow can't be integrated into the whole of what you are because it's externalized, projected, seen as bad, right?
Right. Even shadow work, your inner child healing, and, you know, all these things that are like, shun them, shame them. Your even ego, being like ego is bad. Saying all these things are bad is confusing people and making them think that their natural impulses are wrong and bad, and they're not following them and listening to them and exploring them because they have shame and confusion and just all these other things around what's rising up in those thought messengers from their sexual energy. And it's so frustrating to me because, like, I have been shamed for my love and my expression because I've always seen the divine in the wild. I've always seen it. And I've even had people convince me out of it. And I had to find my way back to my belief because it's such a strong societal belief that it's wrong. I was convinced. Like, I would have never thought I would have been convinced to be one of those people. And then there I was.
So in what ways, and like I know you already spoke about it, but in what ways like have you, like how do we just be ourselves, man? Like how do we be our like wild, like human, like messy, like but also like and like respect others in the same way, and like there's like so much.
I know. That is my whole program that I'm putting together. It's my whole program. It's really crazy because what I've discovered sexual energy is going to help you do is everything that the collective needs. From as small as discovering your life purpose here on earth. Like, I can figure that out with your sexual energy.
You have that. You have a little like do you take clients?
A whole form. I just got this information because I had to do it on myself and do it on somebody else to see how accurate that it is. And the scary part about it, the accuracy is very scary. But you know how they always say, all the answers are within you. You have all the answers inside you. Use your resources within. I always thought that was like very whimsical thinking, right? Where it's like, no, I need to take this course. I need to read this book. I need to learn. No. It was right. That statement was right as fuck. It's as simple as just hearing what the fuck your sexual energy has to say and breaking it down. So I think I'm going to take it because it needs to be in person. I'm going to be doing workshops, but it's going to be so easy and fun. People aren't even going to know they're healing. Like, it's going to be like, oh my God, this is exciting, this is interesting, this is fun. And before they know it, they're like, oh my God, this is the answer to all of my issues and problems. I just think, because you just need to figure out how to harmonize your sexual energy expressions, each of them, how to harmonize them, and which ones you're missing that needs to be incorporated in that stage of your life, and the needs and desires of each one to figure out what your expression is supposed to be. Your authentic expression is supposed to be for the world. And your authentic expression for the world is your purpose. Like you're going to see how your expression can now do a thing for the world that you want to feel that fulfillment. You want to feel necessary. Yes. You want to feel like you played a part. Like, you're going to see what that is on such a deep level. And it's all going to come
from you. When are these workshops happening? Where are they like what anyway, like I just want to like give you space here at the end to like just like tell us about like I'll link down your website and everything down below, but tell us about like where can people find you? What like what everything, please.
So I am literally going through a rebrand because I needed to sit down and get clear about what it was that I was talking about and how I can best offer this profound, elaborate information to people who don't even know the need and necessity of harmonizing their sexual energy. So when I say I've been trying to piece this together for the past 5 years, and it took my sister was like, you need to dumb yourself down. Like you need to dumb yourself down so refined so that people can understand what you're talking about and why they need what you're talking about. And like, so taking that time hibernating.
Yeah.
I had to hibernate. Yeah. So from Thanksgiving up until literally now, literally today has been my hibernation. Where I know I haven't done no work really. I haven't really done anything. And now that I have clarity around what it is that I'm doing, my purpose, my mission, like getting clarity around what the fuck you're here for changes the game. Okay? Like it's almost like you finally get a wipe of you get cleansed, and you have no more thought messengers popping up about your needs, because your needs are met now. You figured out how to meet your needs on your own, and now you just have to put on your big girl panties and step into them. And that is a whole nother side. So I have 4 levels to my, sexual intelligence, journey. And the 4th level is really learning how to integrate it, how to really switch from subconsciously living your life and thinking and doing and behaving the way that you've always have, and stepping into something completely different, but also exciting. And that's what you need to take you where you need to go. But it's like, oh my God, it's so different than what I've ever done and how I've ever behaved. And it's like, but here we are, and it's just so deep. So people can find me on Instagram to keep in touch and stay tuned at Shakta. So KAYSHAKTA. I'll be posting about my events there, and then in my link, I'll be able to link my Substack that I'm starting, and the event and everything you'll be able to find there, in the website where you can find the products. So the products are essentially there to help you feel what harmonized sexual energy feels like, where you won't have all these thought messengers popping up in your mind. You won't have chaotic energy roaming in your body. Everything is going to be still and flow, and you're going to be able to unleash that sensual, erotic goddess that wants to come out and be raw and uninhibited and expressive and like just juicy and sensational. So the reviews on there's over like 2,000 reviews on the website, and the products are phenomenal. There's supplements, and then there's a liquid form of the supplements called the rum honey tincture. And the rum honey tincture is more of an instant sexual enhancement elixir. Okay. So you take that.
Are these for women?
Yeah, but men take it too. Yeah, because the herbs are actually for men, but as I work with it and I intentionalize it, I've made it for women specifically. So couples definitely love the tincture together. The supplements are more of a sensual enhancement supplement, so I take those daily, and that just helps me live my life with harmonized sexual energy. Because I like to be in a good magnetic energy all day. Yes. Like I just want to
try that out. I'm gonna try that out. I'm gonna have to get me some.
Yes.
We're gonna wrap up our pod today. So thank you everybody for watching.
This was good.
This was juicy. Okay. Hi mom, if you're watching, and hi my mom's friends.
I hope they learned something.
They will. All right. Is that so? I will link down your website, your Instagram, or like your Substack. Do you have like one link with all of those things in there?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Well, if they get to my Instagram, they'll find a link to take them where they need to go.
Everybody, check out links down below. Get those supplements to try it out, and yeah, I'll see you another time.